Hey everybody, this is me, the Undead Viking. I'm here to talk to you about a game called Germania Magna. I apologize, I don't really have... Here, I can hold this up. Bam! Germania Magna. Germania Magna is a game where each person is taking on the role of a Germanic tribal leader who hates the Roman legions. Okay, well, it's basically it's a fighting game where you're going to be putting cards that are representing your army units, and you're going to be sending them out on battles, and you're relying on everybody else who's running a barbarian tribe to kind of help you in destroying those Roman legions. But if you don't succeed as a group, you're going to fail and be driven back, and you're ultimately going to lose. But you have to win, but you have to win better than everybody else. Kind of like a cooperative, but not really cooperative. Now, the semi-cooperative games are really tough to figure out because of the fact that you have kind of like usually this ingrained mentality where people have to say, well, let me buy into the game a little bit, let me buy into the theme, and so I have a reason for doing what I'm going to be doing. But this game is unique in the fact that, like, I didn't really experience that. It was really fun. It was really fun to kind of jam each other and have certain cards in certain situations that just were perfect, where I could like really screw somebody over and claim a bunch of points for myself. But for the most part, like I said, the game was fantastic. It was steeped in theme, it was steeped in history, and we all had a great deal of fun. So let me show you how the game is played. We'll come back here and I'll tell you exactly a little bit more, I guess, about why I'm digging this one. Alright, cool. Alright, this is Germania Magna, and I'm just going to kind of walk you through what happens on a turn. Alright, as I said, this is a game where each person is controlling a Germanic tribe that the crumbling Roman legion is still present in your area. Think of the beginning of Gladiator, but you're not the Romans. You are those barbarian tribes that they're fighting in that big battle. But anyway, so to begin the game, you're going to go ahead and give each person this little player board here that's going to have your score on it. It has 0s and 10s, so like if you have 23 points, it would be like that. Pretty simple. You're going to start with 5 coins. You're going to use coins or loot, as it's said, to be able to play cards in the clashes, which are the fights that you're going to be doing on the different battlefields. You put one battlefield out. Just quickly going to show you what this is. This is Maxima Soconorum. This has a 10 defense that's going to be increased because of the fact that we have 2 Roman Legion cards that we put down there. We don't know what they are yet. When this gets attacked, we'll find out, and that's going to increase what the power is most likely there. If you manage to defeat this area, everybody who takes part in defeating this area is going to get 2 coins for doing so. That can also possibly be increased by those cards there. And then it has a special thing that's going on. So and this is the type of unit here, in this province receive an additional point to their battle strength. And so anything that is in the area that has that symbol on it will get an extra point. Now, you're always going to have at least 2 clashes out at any one time. So the very first turn of the game, we're going to go ahead and just deal another one out. And so we have here, let's just show what we got here. We have the Alpes Ponene, and this has a 15. It's worth 2 coins if you win. And notice how there's no Roman legions. It's just 15, so that we don't add any cards to this one. Victory, only a player whose horde has the highest total strength receives these coins, and that's if you defeat it. Or victory, if you defeat it, each player sacrifices 1 tribal unit that passed the casualty test. And I'll explain the casualty test in just a little bit. So we're just going to go ahead and place that one down as well. Each person starts with 5 tribal cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's just see what we got here before we go any further. I should mention, like I said, if you've cleaned out the table of those cards, you're going to draw 2 of them to put them out there. If there's 1 or 2, you're just going to add a card, so you have 2 or 3 cards at that point. If you have 3 cards and you add 1, you're going to be forced to discard 1. You can only have 3 clashes out there. They don't just keep accumulating. Also, I should mention, just before I get beyond myself, the game ends when you've defeated 6 of these, and whoever has the most glory at that point will be the winner. So there's some timing aspects going on. So anyway, this is my deck of cards, hand of cards that I got. Now, we're drawing them from this giant deck over here. There are rules for building your own deck and like having certain cards in your own deck, so you have a personal deck. I'm playing the basic way, which is just one giant deck of cards, but you can play it either way, and it's fun either way. But anyway, so There are 4 different types of cards. There are basically army units. There are attachments for those army units. There are strategy cards, and there's tactics cards. So just quickly here, looks like we got a strategy card, tactic, a tribal unit, an attachment, another tribal unit. So let's just look at a tribal unit really quick. So this is a war band. Here's the type. Now this is actually like if they fought there, they'd have an extra 1 strength. They have a 2 strength to the war band. They have this 4 and they have this 6, and they cost nothing to play. Pretty good card actually, you know, for that little area right there. But here, this 4 and this 6, what that is that's the number you're going to have to roll higher than on a 6-sided die to survive the battle. If you win the battle, they have to roll a 4 or higher. If they lose the battle, you're going to have to roll a 6 for them to survive. And so that is what those 2 numbers are standing for. So then, going on, let's just look at a strategy card really quick. Strategy cards are just what you think they are. They're different strategies you can implement. This one costs nothing to play as well. And then this says, take 2 gold from a target player. You can just steal from somebody. Which, you know, this is a game of contention between players. Yes, you're all working together trying to defeat the Romans, but you want to be the person who did the best job at defeating the Romans, if you will. Tactics. Tactics are cards that basically break the rules in some way, and they can kind of be played at any time. Normally, the other 3 types of cards can only be played during basically the deployment phase. But anyway, so in victory and single combat, 2 target players who participate in the same clash must exchange all the glory they would have gained in it. So they have to give it back and forth. All right, so, and here, let me just show you attachments. So here's the fulcrum. All these 2 in this horde receive 2 additional points of strength. Add 1 to the die roll result when testing losses for those particular ones after the clash. So you'd add 1 when you're rolling against that d6. All right, so there you go. Now, each person is going to have a decision that they have to make after they've collected their 5 cards, and they're moving forward to the next phase of the game. This is called the supply phase. During the supplies phase, I apologize. First, we have to go ahead and give each person a chieftain card. So we're going to take this, we're going to put it in front of you. The chieftain card just gives you a name. This is Marabatus. It has a power. In case of victory, you draw 2 cards from the deck. So you're going to draw 2 cards in the tribal deck there. And he has a 6. That is the initiative. He's kind of slow. Other chieftains will go ahead of him, but he has this little power. And of course, there's little blurbs of text here, which are really cool because this is a game that is, well, technically historical, so it is kind of neat, and those things are fun to read. But anyway, so you put that down, so now you have a little special power. So now, in initiative order, each person's going to pick during the supply phase. So either you're going to pick 4 units of loot or gold or whatever you want to call it, take 2 cards off the top of the deck, or take 2 units of loot and 1 card. So let's just take 2 units of loot, because it's too bad to have gold. Let's take 1 card off the top. See what we get here. Allied Alon Cavalry. Looks like they have strength of 4. And you don't receive loot after a clash in which this unit takes part. Oh, but it doesn't cost anything to deploy. That's kind of nice too. So, all right. So there we go. We got our cards, and we're ready to go. So now, what's going to happen is that you're going to do the deployment of your units and your strategies and your attachments. And this is a situation where each person, starting with the initiative order, you're going to go, this person goes, that person goes, that person goes, so on and so forth. You place a card, you pay the cost, and that's that. It should be mentioned that only tribal units and attachments get placed out here. Strategies are just kind of one and done type of cards. You play them and then you get the bonus or whatever it is the card tells you what to do, and you take that and then they're immediately discarded. If you pass during this time, once you pass, you can't get back in. So it's one of those games, you've probably played games like this before, where it's like basically each person goes and just kind of tries to show a little bit of what they're up to, but kind of tries to hide it a little bit as well. And there's a lot of, this game is about negotiation, it's about table talk, it's about convincing other people to help you in certain situations, and it's also about, kind of going last, seeing other people, what their actions are, what they're going to be doing, and being able to react to that. And that's a very big part of the game. So, I'm not going to go through each person putting the cards down, but if you're looking for glory, maybe you're saying, okay, well, you play this, so now it's 4, to the 15, and then you maybe, have this one down here. That one's like a 3, so you put that. So now it's a 6. And let me just dig through. Let's say other people like put stuff in here. Let me just grab a couple of cards here to add to these things. So somebody else played that one, and then here we go ahead and add this guy. So 8, maybe, and then you kind of place the cards so they're close to your direction, so you can kind of tell who put what. But it's pretty easy to remember. So 4, then we have 7. And I'm just trying to get this so I know I'm going to get this. So 7, and then 10, 14. We need one more. So let's just go ahead and add this warband here. All right, so there we go. So now we have that out there. So what we're going to do then is, people have played tactics and they've done things to kind of mess with other people and switch things up, because there's lots of different cards that when they take effect, like they have certain things that are going to happen that people aren't going to expect, and there's good things too, like, here's if you play this as an attachment, you don't need to test losses after this clash, and there's going to be cards and things that are going to happen that are going to cause cards that people have played to not take effect anymore. And that's where this open negotiation happens. You think you're in a good spot where you're going to be like, you're in a position of strength, but then somebody's going to kick the stool out from underneath you, and you're not going to have that anymore. If you ever have a situation where you have a clash and it's just attachment cards, you can't fight. You can't fight with just attachments. You can only fight if there's people there. So like here's a card, like Fog. Return up to 3 tribal units belonging to the same horde to their owner's hand. So they've paid the gold, they've put the things out there, and you're like, no, I don't think so, buddy. You're not going to get those. And you don't even have to be involved in that combat. You can be over here and you can be taking those cards out so that people are going to lose that combat. And you kind of chuckle to yourself, and you're very proud of yourself for getting those people for losing that battle. And because you went last after everybody else passed, and you just kind of boned everybody in that situation. So there's stuff like that, and I like games like this. But anyway, so now you're going to do the clash. So we'll do this one first before we reveal the Roman legions. So you have enough to defeat it. So what's going to happen here is that only the player whose horde has the most will get it. So we have one horde that had 5, but I think this one has 7. So they're going to get the 2 coins. But here, who gets the most, the most glory out of the situation? Well, that one's worth 15 glory. You look here, you have 3 people involved in it, so you look military strength of 15, so the first place person gets 8, the next 5, and next gets 2. And that's how you determine how much each person gets. Pretty straightforward and pretty easy to figure out. Now, let's do this one. This is cool, because I don't even know what's underneath here. So, we have no competences, so it's a 0, so that's good. That's awesome, actually. But we have this one, which is a 5. Oh, I think it's going to doom us. If we had defeated it, though, it would have worth another extra 2. And then the German phalanx and Coons have no effect in this clash. So I don't think we have to worry about that. So we have 3, 5, 8. I didn't even have enough to begin with. Let's just say that was silly of me. I should have put another one in there. I apologize. Let's say we had just enough. No, let's actually, like, we really, not just enough. We had picked like 3, so we had enough. We had 11 to the 10, and we thought maybe we get lucky. So we don't, though, because this one actually pushes up to a 15, and so we're going to lose this particular battle. So each person that contributed their warriors, what they're going to do is they're going to take that 6-sided die, like I said, and they're going to roll for each one of these cards. So, like, we lost, so I'm going to have to roll, a 6. Well, actually, wait a minute. Did we lose? Because this adds +1. So, 1? Yeah, we did lose anyway. So you roll. Did he survive? No, so he gets discarded. And then this one needs a 5 or better. Did he survive? Yes, so I get to return that one to my hand. That warriors, did they survive? Let's see if we roll a 5 or better. Nope, they're dead. And finally, this one, let's see if we go ahead and get a 5 or better there. And we did. So these people would have these particular units returned to their hands, so they live to fight another day. But this one's defeated, and this one stays out there. And nobody collects, obviously, nobody collects any loot for that battle, and nobody collects any glory for that battle. But we're going to go ahead and get rid of this one. Let's see what the next one's going to be. So when we start up the next turn, we would have This one, Lugdunensis Secunda, and so we can all ahead and just base strength of these two is reduced by 1, and so that's going to be 15 with 1 card. So you'd have 1 card underneath this one, and then you'd put 2 brand new cards under that one, and you'd restart and you'd do the next turn and you'd go, and like I said, until you've defeated 6 of these province cards. As soon as you defeated 6, that is the end of the game. Whoever scored the most points will obviously be the winner. The game's a lot of fun. It's a lot of history. It's a lot of battles. It's a lot of negotiation, conversation, convincing people to help you. But there's also this weird cooperation aspect that, like, you have to work together to be able to get points, but you have to make sure that you're the one standing on top in the end, which is tricky and a lot of fun to get there. But let me talk more about that in my final thoughts. Alright, thank you very much for learning how to play Germania Magna. Now, I mean, like I said, I've already gone over pretty well exactly why I like the game. I mean, this is the type of game that really suits me. I mean, yes, when somebody said, well, it's got some deck building to it, you know, and I played it with the deck building aspect as far as, like, having, you know, your own set of cards and everything, but I really think having the middle deck, you know, that you know, just has with the random effects, and you do take certain cards out because there's certain cards in the deck that are made specifically for having your own deck, and so that opens up some of the different avenues. I mean, like, oh geez, I can probably find a card or two, but there's like cards that basically say, like, you're allowed to, like, go through your discard pile and search for cards, or like go through your deck and find a specific card of this type and then put that into your hand and then shuffle up the deck. So if you're one of those people that enjoys that aspect, I mean, that's just another way you can play, and I think it's a lot of fun. Now, I'm like of the person that, like, as far as deck building goes and stuff like that, I always thought the game Ascension was really good just because of the really, really quick setup. A giant deck of cards, bam, there it is, here's your cards, let's go. And this has got that aspect to it. It's like you get top 5 cards on the top. And if I should mention that if you get, like, when you take your 5 cards, if you don't like them, you can say mulligan, and you can, you know, draw 5 new ones and reshuffle the deck and that kind of thing. So if you do get a bad first draw, you can avoid that. I mean, obviously also with the supply phase, if you don't like your cards, you can just draw 4 more. You know, so, and that decision is actually pretty important as far as the game goes, because a lot of times, like, you'll be running out of cash, running out of gold, and that's also, like, you know, if you become both loot poor or gold poor, and also, like, poor as far as if you had a bad turn and most of your armies got destroyed, man, I mean, that's happened. But it's very realistic in a way, and it makes for having tough decisions, and you know, there's nothing wrong with, like, passing and not really sending out any of your units to really fight, because you're just kind of letting the other people, like, maybe, you know, not do as well, you know. And if you can convince people to, like, go ahead, yeah, totally, I'll help you, and then it gets to your turn, they're like, okay, yeah, but I don't really have enough to take this by myself. Oh yeah, I can totally, I got this, like, I got a really good card here, we can take it, we can do it. And then it gets to you and you're like, pass. you know, but they've already committed their units to the battle, and then, you know, there's a good chance they're going to lose them. So there's lots of cool stuff like that, and lots of different avenues and different things that get added to the play of the game, just because of the fact that you add that human element, that human negotiation, the human conversation, which makes games like this, for me, a lot of fun. So there you go. If you like card battling games, if you like negotiation games, I really think you're going to like this, especially if you like the historical themes. So I invite you to check that one out. If you have any questions about the game, please ask away. I'll be happy to answer those. As always, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. And until next time, you have yourself one heck of an awesome day. All right? All right, cool.